Hey, what's up, Team Rock Rep? Coach Chris here, dropping another Monday video. I hope all of you guys are doing great. Two quick things, though, before I get into this week's topic. Thing number one, thank you guys so much for those of you who have reached out to me directly over the last couple of months since I've been taking YouTube a little bit more seriously than I have in the past. Thank you guys so much that have shared my videos on a regular basis, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Thank you guys for that. And also for those of you who have even gone as far to reach out to me directly, letting me know that you appreciate the content and supported me in that way with the verbal affirmations that we're doing a good thing here with Rock Rep Fitness. It means a whole heck of a lot to me. A lot of you guys know that I work full time. I do this because I love it. I love people and I love helping them get healthy. And so those verbal affirmations and words of encouragement mean the absolute world to me and gives me the fuel to my fire to keep going and keep doing things like this, providing you all with really great free content on YouTube. And so shout out to all of you guys. And second of all, a quick plug. You guys have probably noticed that I wear this bulk season Team Rock Rep hoodie quite a bit. And the reason for that is in Texas, we aren't really used to the cold. So 40 degrees is freezing to us. And with that said, I've been wearing this hoodie quite a bit. Now, the reason I'm plugging this particular hoodie is obviously it's a good way to support the brand Rock Rep Fitness if you guys like what me and Alyssa are doing. It's super soft, doesn't shrink when you dry it. It washes great, all of that good stuff. You can see that the logo has not faded at all, and I've washed this thing several times because I wear it every single day almost. And yeah, you can snag it on RockRepTv.com under our shop tab, and it's a great thing to wear for the winter, especially if you're like me and you have a little bit of extra fluff from bulk season. Great purchase, and it's also a phenomenal way to support, like I said, Rock Rep Fitness, what we're doing. It means a whole heck of a lot to Alyssa and I when you guys do that. So not asking you to, but just saying if you'd like to support the brand, that's a really great way to do that. So hopping into this week's video, talking about why you should not jump into a contest prep. And I love this topic because this is a conversation I've had with real life clients. Now, whether or not they've been my clients, I've had this conversation with a lot of competitive bodybuilding athletes, and I love talking about it because I believe regardless of where you are, whether you're a newbie or whether you have competed for 5 years, I think it's something really important to remember. Two different perspectives on that. Obviously, if you're a newbie, we're able to correct this bad habit before it gets started. And if you're 5 years into your competitive career, your competitive journey, and you are used to jumping into contest preps, I'm hoping that I can help you break that bad habit and maybe produce a little bit better results on stage for you. I will say for this video in particular, though, full disclaimer, it is tagged or targeted at newbies, people that have not really competed before. They're looking at getting into the sport, haven't really created those bad habits yet. So full disclaimer on that. So reason number one why you don't want to jump into a contest prep, you don't want to have to rush the process. And main reasons for this is if you rush the process and you just jump into it, there's not going to be a lot of time for planning with you and your coach. Your coach isn't going to really know you that well, and you might not see the results that you want up front. So you might get a month and a half out from your show or a month out from your show, typically around the time when you should be looking pretty darn good. You might realize that you're going to have to crash diet and do obscene amounts of cardio, and nobody wants to do that because if you rely on that approach, I'm not saying people don't see results from it because they absolutely do. Their bodies hate them for it. But typically what I see is if people follow that, with the exception of a few genetic freaks out there that can follow that kind of approach and have phenomenal results, you're going to look sick rather than shredded on stage. And we don't want that. We want to bring our best full package to the stage. We want to look healthy. We want to look shredded, and we want to look full. So typically the crash diet does not produce that result. So we want to avoid that. A key tagline, though, to take away from this first reason is the best contest preps are well planned out and they're well strategized. And what I mean by that is typically, like for me, whenever I bring on a new client, especially if they're brand new, they've never competed before, and I do this with all of my clients, but especially if they're new, I have milestones that I want to accomplish at different points of the contest preparation cycle. And if your coach doesn't have that, that's a big red flag that you should look for a different coach, maybe someone that's not Instagram certified in bro science. But that's a thing to look out for. And if you rush into a contest prep, you're not going to have the time to generate those milestones and those small goals that lead up to the big goal of being on stage. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, this one may be obvious to some, not so much to others. It can cause tension between you and your coach if you are working with a coach, obviously. I know some people that watch my channel, they like coaching themselves for contest prep. That's absolutely fine. It kind of goes against what I believe. I think anybody should have a coach. If a 7-time Mr. Olympia still has a coach, you need a coach. But yeah, going for the people that do decide to take that advice and have a coach, it will cause tension if your coach is allowing you to jump into a contest prep, not because, well, let me rephrase. Let me restart here. It'll cause tension because when you're not seeing the results at the time that you think you should, it's going to cause you to have doubts in your coach's mind. And as someone that's coached for 5 years now, or 4 years, I guess, we can sense that if there's doubt. I experienced that when I was early on as a personal trainer. I experienced that sometimes. I was brand new, didn't really know what I was doing too much. This is before I got into really diving into the science. And I'm humble enough to admit at one point I didn't know a lot. And when I was first starting out, I could detect my clients sort of doubted what I was saying. And so that causes a tension because it's sort of a vicious cycle. The client starts to doubt, so the coach kind of gets agitated, starts being a little bit more forceful. And the client starts doubting things like credibility and all of that stuff. And even if they want to do the contest prep, so it's a big mess. And we want to avoid that. That can be avoided by planning out well in advance when you want to compete, what your timelines are ideally, working with a professional and letting them kind of work out the kinks, knowing what you currently look like, how long it's going to take you to be stage ready, all of that good stuff. A great example is I'm currently working with an off-season client who knows he wants to compete, but he's not in shape to compete yet. So we are working together and we are still keeping our minds open to when we want to set that actual contest prep date to start. That's a phenomenal approach and one that I recommend to most. As a general rule of thumb, if you can get your eyes on a show as early as a year out, you're going to be in great shape. If you can start going through an off-season cycle and then start planning milestones and preps with your coach, that's a phenomenal approach and one that I recommend and one that I take my own clients through. Reason number three, if the first two weren't enough for you, it's going to set you up with an instant gratification mindset. And if you go talk to anybody that's ever competed, you cannot have that mindset going into a contest prep because you are setting yourself up for absolute failure. Anyone in the sport can tell you that bodybuilding accomplishments and rewards don't come overnight. They come from marathons, not sprints, is the way that I like to put it. And if you go into your contest prep by jumping into it, not really thinking about it, just maybe you're 6 weeks out from a show and you're like, oh, I want to compete because I want to look great in 6 weeks, and doing a bodybuilding show is going to help me do that. That's a terrible mindset to have. You need to have a whole bunch of different reasons to be doing a contest prep. That should not be one of them. Or what I meant to say is not that you need them. You should have a bunch of different reasons to want to compete. And just doing it so you can look great in a short amount of time is not a valid reason to compete, and you're going to set yourself up for failure. And that sort of also ties into the tension with a coach, because if they can't get you shredded in 6 weeks, which most coaches cannot successfully, and at least to where you look good, you're going to doubt that coach and their credibility. So those are my top 3 reasons. Guys, as a general approach, especially for you new people that are just joining the channel and you're thinking about getting into bodybuilding, take the time to plan. I promise that while it might drag things out a little bit longer, the end result that you're going to get, whether you want to be pro or not, is going to be much more well worth it. I guarantee you, go talk to any of my contest prep people that I'm working with currently. They're going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that the long-term reward is worth the wait and it's worth the planning. So that's my advice to you all. If you want to compete, start talking with a coach first, partner with them, learn from them, and get a game plan. Don't just jump into something, because I promise you, you will see to regret it. And that is it for this week's video. If you missed last week's video where I talked about building symmetry in your symmetry and proportion in your physique. I have linked that down below. If you guys are interested in online coaching, obviously New Year's is coming up, and so we're expecting to be very busy. But if you are interested in online coaching, I encourage you to apply. You can do that on my website. I'll link all of those links down below in the description box. I encourage you, though, don't wait, because we are going to get full and we're going to have to create a waiting list. So the earlier you apply, the better. We'll go through the application process, talk it through, make sure we're a good fit, and then we'll bring you onto our team. And we love, love, love this time of year because we get to meet so many new people and learn about so many new goals. And yeah, so we're very excited for the new year. 2019 is going to be an exciting year for RockRep Fitness. Alyssa and I, again, I just can't say enough. We are very, very excited to get into the new year, trying to survive Christmas season right now. But that's going to wrap it up. I will see you all next Monday. Stay healthy and God bless.